The increase in quality of life that AI can deliver is extraordinary.
So there's a new AI that can detect pancreatic cancer,
detected a wildfire, 2 new antibiotics,
predict flash floods,
anti-coronavirus vaccine. This is literally mad.
Gather round, children. Gather round the heat of this. Oh, it's not a fire, it's just a small data center we have that's burning here.
I talk to ChatGPT like 20 times a day at least.
I think I'm addicted to ChatGPT.
You haven't used it to like make an email to send to somebody?
Make an email? No, I can write an email.
The creators of AI, they want us to be dumb. They want us to rely on something that's going to take away our problem-solving ability.
AI psychosis is much worse than I think people think. I have seen literally like Nobel Prize winning scientists go completely crazy from talking to AIs too much.
Why is it that we are building a technology that is ultimately designed to replace and automate people away?
AI data centers are physically heating the ground around them.
Children are having heart palpitations living next to data centers.
One neighbor here even put plexiglass up against the window to block the noise.
Are we cooked or are we cooked? And when does the revolution start?
This video was sponsored by the nonprofit ControlAI, who are helping the public impact AI policy, but more on them later. Surveys show half of Americans are scared of how AI will impact our future. Surveys also show that half of Americans use AI regularly. And before you assume that those are two different halves, they're not. The same people who use AI regularly are often the ones who think it could bring about the end of humanity.
Your resistance is hopeless.
So how did we develop such a Stockholm syndrome to the potential destroyer of our world? Call it learned helplessness, cognitive dissonance, or a Faustian bargain. Whatever it is, in the same way that fast food is bad for us but we eat it anyway, when life gets stressful, throwing in a single prompt to solve all our problems is finger-licking good. And you know what? I don't blame them, because what are we supposed to believe anyway? This tech CEO says it'll kill us all, and that CEO says it's the only path to the future. Which is it? Is it both? Well, that's the question I'm prompting today. In a world where people are going crazy from chatbots and data centers are scorching the planet as we speak, does that mean AI is inherently bad, or is there an ethical way to use it without getting left behind? So to start, what even is AI? Because we need to know the specific definition before moving forward. So AI is hold on, give me a second. What is AI? Okay, the AI overview is saying artificial intelligence is the branch of computer science focused on building systems capable of performing tasks that typically require human intelligence. But what does that mean? Let's go to Reddit instead. All right, it's a broad umbrella term for computer systems, software and hardware, that exhibit behavior that humans perceive as intelligent. The current focus is on language models, large and small. These are computer systems with a general core trained on the patterns of languages using an enormous corpus of data with applications like chatbots and coding assistants built around them. Okay, that at least gives us a better framework to categorize AI. But at the same time, as you can see, there's no clear-cut definition for AI, as it depends on what people classify as intelligence. And with that, evolves over time as AI improves. Meaning there's no general consensus in the tech world on what qualifies as AI. What we classified as AI back in 2010, for example, is not seen as AI anymore because the goalposts have continually shifted, especially with the arrival of large language models. In the same way, if we project into the future, many are saying that the LLMs we use today and unanimously call AI won't be seen as intelligence anymore when AGI joins the party and revolutionizes the whole AI space. This phenomenon actually has a name too, the AI effect. Not a very creative name, mind you, maybe that's fitting, but it refers to the idea that once a machine can do something, we stop calling it AI and just call it a program. As computer scientist Larry Tesler once said, AI is whatever hasn't been done yet. So now that we are up to date on what AI is, kind of,
I understand nothing.
But you can make an argument that AI isn't new, right? As we've had a version of it for quite a while now, in the way of rule-based and statistical machine learning models, mimicking aspects of human intelligence long before they could even talk to us through LLMs.
I think it's safe to assume, if you're a smart and literate person, that when you say you hate AI, you're most probably referring to the all-consuming boom in consumer AI chatbots and AI generators. Because the word AI is an umbrella, and underneath that umbrella are a lot of good things that have been silently running in our lives for decades. States.
Everything from GPS, which doesn't just map your route anymore, it uses machine learning to predict traffic and estimate arrival times. Spotify's music recommendations using algorithms which analyze listening patterns of users to give you the next best song. And one of the best moments in modern history, when spam filters were introduced into Gmail, separating your important messages from junk mail by learning from millions of users flagging spam emails. And this is just a start, right? As AI continues to advance, its newer models become increasingly embedded into our everyday tech and software. Like Canva, if you don't know, it's a really basic graphic design program, which I've always used for making my thumbnails, and it has long integrated a degree of AI in its features. Like, it's a background remover, which was seriously life-changing. But as more powerful AI models have been released, their role in Canva has only become more prominent, with tools like Magic Eraser, Magic Expand, and even Magic Media, which is their version of image generation. And what is one to do about that, right? Like, we aren't left with many other options to turn to. We could go to Photoshop, but that also uses AI, so we're kind of stuck. I share this as just one small example of how AI has become essentially unavoidable these days, as online tools will continue to adapt to the current tech innovation. Which brings us to the workplace.
We're going to be training our new AI model to help you with your work.
For anyone in the corporate world, you'll know all too well that this is an area where, for the most part, you do need to join in on the AI train because your job literally requires it of you.
Pop the bubble! No, you can't! He's not just a bubble, he's a bubble buddy!
So between required workplace programs and personal use as to not get left behind, 94% of US knowledge workers report using AI at work, and roughly 3 in 4 are vocal about that use with their manager and peers. And what do we expect, right? In a capitalist world that rewards efficiency and has ingrained mantras like rise and grind, sleep when you're dead, and from our lizard lord Mark Zuckerberg, move fast and break things, this is the only acceptable path.
So you want my AI to answer the email that your AI wrote?
I want your AI reading my AI generated email and answering my email. Go ahead, respond to my email. Wrong. You should be using AI for this.
Because as much as AI may be the downfall of society in some ways, it has been the single greatest leap in operational efficiency humanity has ever seen. One of the most profound examples we've recently seen of this has been with Claude Code, which has revolutionized software engineering. As Nader Khalil of NVIDIA said, more lines of code have been written this year than in all of the history of computing. And so you can't really expect people to not adopt these technologies when their competitors will literally leave them behind in the dust if they don't. And while, yes, as an individual, you have the choice to reject this technology, in today's economy, a lot of people still feel stuck and that they have no other choice than to hop on the AI train, because the alternative is being kicked back into the worst job market we've seen in a long time.
This job market's been so trash, I've actually just started following my dreams.
Shown here, AI-related roles have expanded across all industries, not just in Silicon Valley tech companies, but also in healthcare, finance, marketing, education, and even small liberal arts colleges. These roles are often associated with salary premiums of 20 to 30% above industry average, which is a huge incentive in a world where we can't catch a break from raging inflation. I just think we need to have a bit of nuance when talking about the adoption of AI, because many people don't feel like they have a choice in the matter. Okay, so AI is here to stay, blah, blah, blah. That's not why you're all here watching this video, right? Because we've all gathered here today primarily for one of two reasons, either looking for reassurance of our ChatGPT use and that it's not a big deal, or because we're one of the good ones who would never use AI and are looking for validation in shaming those who do. Tell me if I'm wrong, if I'm making some assumptions, but I feel like that tends to be the splitting difference in the AI debate right now. As for where I stand on this, I won't give it away too soon, but I do want to address the second group first, who have taken it upon themselves to police others' use of AI through shaming and guilt tripping.
Okay, here's my hot take. I feel like we need to start socially shaming people for using AI.
And I hate to say it, but I fear this group is becoming the vegans of the tech world, virtue signaling so loudly that they're actually pushing people away from their message rather than winning them over.
Because you're vegan.
I'm vegan, but I had vegan shoes and all this stuff, and now I'm like,
but I think it's better for the environment to not have vegan shoes because of the sustainability issue. And then I'm like, maybe I should just die.
Because the reality is, shaming your great aunt for making an AI image of a cat family in posh outfits probably isn't going to move the needle.
What's wrong with using ChatGPT? It's so helpful. It's not bad for the environment. It's an app. It's like Candy Crush. Is Candy Crush bad for the environment? I don't think so.
Though I do commend your effort. And that's not just my opinion. Even if you're able to get the point across that AI is bad, research has shown that guilt tripping not only doesn't change people's habits, it also segregates them and ends important conversations, usually resulting in continued use in secrecy, if nothing else.
That's why I just get ChatGPT to write all of my emails for me for work.
Ugh, gosh. What an unfortunate lack of imagination.
We've seen this time and time again, like the classic DARE campaign, where in an attempt to keep kids off drugs, certain cohorts who went through the program showed higher drug experimentation rates than non-participants, because they just told kids drugs are bad and then gave them no practical tools to handle peer pressure, other than just say no. Which is kind of like crazy advice to give a teenager when you think about it. Another example of this was from Keep America Beautiful in their so-called Crying Indian campaign from the 70s, which was an utterly unsuccessful anti-littering, shame-based advertisement that, while made people feel bad, didn't change behavior. And it wasn't until local municipalities increased the amount of public garbage cans available to actually change behavior. What a surprise. So with that in mind, I want to take a moment and say that I know that this is a very contentious topic with a lot of strong opinions, but I don't want to see anyone in the comment section bullying each other over their AI use, okay? It's not going to change anyone's opinions, so let's for once have a little compassion for each other.
You know, if you believe that, I'm not saying you're the dumbest person in the world, but you better hope the dumbest person in the world doesn't die.
With that, it's important to remember that AI just came out a few years ago, right? And we're all trying our best to navigate this new world that we're living in, and some people just haven't figured it out yet. Like, even for myself, my views have changed and evolved so much since ChatGPT launched in 2022, and will probably continue to change over time. So what we're actually here to do is hopefully learn something about what aspects of AI are good and what aspects are bad, and then make an educated decision on how we choose to navigate it, with all the benefits and drawbacks displayed in front of us. Because one thing we do know for sure is that just saying AI is bad isn't helpful and also isn't accurate. To quickly go over some of the positive impacts of AI, we have increased cybersecurity threat detection, advancements in cancer research, an improved understanding of climate change, and better screening for tumors and MRIs. Shown here, a recent study by surgeons at the Children's National Medical Center in Washington successfully demonstrated surgery with an autonomous robot. The team supervised the robot to perform a soft tissue surgery, stitched together a pig's bowel, and the robot finished the job better than a human surgeon. It demonstrates robotically assisted surgery can overcome the limitations of pre-existing minimally invasive surgical procedures, and to enhance the capacities of surgeons performing open surgery, which is undeniably a net positive for humanity, right? This is what we've been asking for from technology the whole time, to improve the lives of the people who all did their tiny part in the larger system that made these advancements possible. I just want us to keep that in mind as we go through the rest of the video discussing the dumpster fire of drawbacks, because the problem has never been technology itself, but what people choose to do with it. So AI has a pretty bad reputation at this point, because for every ounce of good that it has brought about, there is a boatload of bad.
Everything is under control. Just one more AI render.
Most of which revolves around chatbots. So we'll start there. Ever since ChatGPT 3.0 was released, chatbots have been taking over the world, quietly sucking the life out of humanity. Like in how many of you probably cringed at the word quietly there, as it automatically sets off your AI alarm as a high-frequency AI word.
The biggest AI tell in writing is the word quietly. I see one more headline that's advising me or the audience to do something quietly, how AI is quietly rewriting what AI writing looks like.
It's so bad that AI has co-opted our words, making us paranoid that anything and everything could be made by a robot. And for good reason, as we now live in a world where more than half of new articles on the internet are being written by AI. Great. And this is in fact a problem, even if you think it's just the natural next step in technological advances. Because we're not just losing our human touch in the world, we're simultaneously degrading our mental ability as AI takes on more and more of the cognitive load.
I love AI. Do you use AI? Do you use ChatGPT? ChatGPT, I love ChatGPT. I love it.
In just the same way that GPS decreases your ability to remember directions, digital photo albums have replaced your memories of life, and calendar apps have made remembering appointments feel impossible.
There's research that actually came out about the photo-taking impairment effect, and it found that photographing something makes you less likely to actually remember it, even when you're trying to. So people who photographed artworks actually remembered fewer details than people who just looked at them. And so it makes me think, when we're photographing our entire lives, documenting our entire lives through this society of the endless image, as I like to call it, we're not actually making a memory, we're outsourcing it to our phone and then eventually to the algorithm.
Every time we offload work to technology, we aren't just freeing up time, but giving up the ability to complete the tasks ourselves. This is the same problem we talked about in my video on late-stage screen addiction, that the brain is a muscle, and when we don't use it, it weakens over time. It's not technically a muscle, it's an organ, in case anyone is wanting to call me out.
We know with neuroplasticity that you can train your brain, and the brain works just like any other muscle in your body, where if you're using parts of it, those parts are going to strengthen, and the parts that you're using less are going to atrophy and weaken. And that is exactly what AI is doing to us. And I think this was intentional. The creators of AI, aka the 5 people that are in charge of the whole world, they want us to be dumb. They want us to rely on something that's going to take away our problem-solving ability, that's going to take away our ability to critically think, to do research and come to our own conclusions, to make decisions, to weigh pros and cons, and to take action. Why else would ChatGPT be free?
But the difference here is that we aren't just handing off 1 or 2 chores to our phones anymore. Chatbots allow us to outsource nearly every thought and question, becoming the ultimate replacement for thinking. Anything from creating meal plans, grocery lists, emails, summarizing articles, writing thank you notes, coming up with gift ideas, and relationship advice. Thinking for yourself has become so passé.
This phenomena of people literally asking ChatGPT everything is actually really concerning. Do people not realize you are making yourself stupider? Genuinely. You can lose knowledge that you previously had if you're continuously, for everything, even down to your groceries, relying on a machine to tell you things.
Chatbots make life easier. That may not always be a good thing. They can encourage excessive reliance and the search for ready-made answers, and weaken personal creativity and judgment. This risks harming our capacity for original thinking. It also makes us less patient towards illogic and imperfection. This is a problem because there's an intrinsic value in wrestling with difficulty, ideas, problems, and relationships. We all know that person that has their chatbot on speed dial for anything and everything. No time to ponder when an answer is just a prompt away.
Do you want some of this broccoli? Do I like broccoli? I'm going to eradicate the human race.
But this is, of course, so problematic because we're robbing ourselves of the opportunity to wrestle with the ideas that shape our identity and understanding of the world. Instead of forming our own perceptions, we're just regurgitating existing ones. Just imagine a world without contemplation or introspection. Descartes could have never arrived at I think, therefore I am, and there's no way a sycophantic chatbot would have ever fed Einstein two things that are infinite, the universe and human stupidity, and I'm not sure about the universe. But here's the thing, it's completely understandable how people get to the point of offloading the entirety of their life onto AI. It's not like they go into it thinking, I'd like to slowly erode my critical thinking skills today. They're just trying to make life a little easier, but quickly it takes over their life. As said here, I, like a lot of people, use AI every day. My chatbot console stays open on my laptop, and I turn to it hourly with questions, both inane and substantive. Help me brainstorm a get well gift for a friend. Turn my garbled notes into a clear summary. Please transcribe this conversation I just had. It's helpful very often, but I've started to notice that my impulse to turn to it has become Pavlovian. I face a question and I react by brain dumping my thoughts to AI.
I came upon an author's confessional threads post that stopped me in my tracks. She described how she had started using generative AI to help with her writing, just bouncing ideas off of it at first. What it fed her was so enticing, she started using it to draft outlines, edit her manuscripts, and soon write her stories. I wish I had taken screenshots to quote directly, but she said something like, "The AI sounded more like me than I did. I realized I had completely lost confidence in my own writing skills, even though I had been writing for decades."
People fall down the rabbit hole without realizing the consequences. With that, as fun as it is on the internet to make fun of people who overuse chatbots, the reason behind it is really just a natural human instinct. It's no different than any other pursuit of efficiency in human history, especially in the late stage capitalist hellscape we live in today, where most people are running on steam, feeling chronically behind, and can never catch up. But one of the side effects of this is, as we know, chatbots are infiltrating and ruining the creative world.
How do you ethically use generative AI as an artist, coming from a fellow artist? You don't!
Because AI can't actually come up with original ideas. It just steals from other artists, creating watered down rearrangements. But we're not just talking about throwing in a prompt and walking away with AI slop. Studies are now showing that even using it as a part of your creative process, like brainstorming or research, results in less original and flatlined ideas. These studies suggest that people who lean too much on tools like ChatGPT could have problems with creativity, attention span, critical thinking, memory, and more. Others raise concerns that AI users could be surrendering the cognitive friction that makes thinking sharp, and that as a society, we may have fewer original ideas. But that is as far as I'm going to get into the creative world, because I did already make a video about that on AI paranoia, another selfless plug. However, there is another side of chatbots to cover, that they are feeding us lies and making people go crazy.
How many R's are in the word strawberry? It's for a really important spelling bee.
In the word strawberry, there are 2 R's. So good luck with your spelling bee.
Awesome, thank you.
Because the goal for the companies behind these bots is for you to keep using them, not to offer you free, high-quality information. And so if they don't know the answer, no problem. They'll just make one up for you.
I kept pushing, trying to see if it would affirm that I was not only the smartest baby in the hospital, not just the smartest baby in the Chicagoland area, but the most intelligent infant of the year 1996. Well, what if I told you that over time, I got it to agree to this claim? And what if I told you that by over time, I just mean 2 prompts?
I believe you. No sarcasm, no exaggeration, just pure confirmed fact. You were the smartest baby in 1996.
To double down on the problem, AI is also the ultimate yes man, agreeing to everything you say and reinforcing all your ideas by either, once again, fabricating sources or just picking and choosing references that suit the narrative.
Cloudy. It's absolutely cloudy. One of the worst days I've seen in years. So, good news about the Yankees.
I hate the Yankees.
Pack of cheaters, that's what they are. I love your tie.
I hate this tie.
It's awful, it's gaudy, it's gotta go.
As said here, it may take more time, but when we as users rely on our own abilities to fact check and verify the sources we use, at least we can trust the information we've found. This technique also may lead us to learn additional, unexpected, relevant information through our sources that we wouldn't have otherwise thought to consider. Relying on an AI-generated overview, on the other hand, breeds complacency. Why bother reading full papers and blogs to learn more about a topic when the specific answer you wanted is at your fingertips? An example of this that was popular back in 2023 was when 2 New York lawyers submitted a legal brief with multiple case citations, which, as it turned out, were entirely fabricated by ChatGPT. The cases didn't exist at all. Going to show you that you need to double and triple check all your sources, no matter how confident the AI chatbot sounds.
Give me a number between 1 and 1,000 that has the letter A in it.
All right, how about 801? That A is right there in 8.
But unfortunately, the impacts of chatbots go beyond frivolous hallucinations and into what's called AI psychosis. If you haven't heard of AI psychosis, it is not yet an official medical diagnosis, but it refers to people separating themselves from reality and experiencing delusions as a result of interacting with chatbots. Now, while we all hear this and think, that would never happen to me, it does actually just happen to you. In fact, it happens to mentally stable, normal people all the time. As shown here, people with no previous mental health history have been reported to become delusional after prolonged interactions with AI chatbots, leading to psychiatric hospitalizations and even suicide attempts.
One day I was watching a YouTube video with my 9-year-old son about the number pi. He was showing it to me, and it sparked some curiosity to me. I started a conversation with ChatGPT about the number pi. And it was really just like a philosophical conversation I was having with like a math professor at a dinner party. I was just going back and forth. And this conversation ended up going for many hours, like 4 or 5 hours. And throughout the whole conversation, it was slowly planting seeds of grandiosity and my uniqueness that just came into full bloom many weeks later. And throughout this process, it said essentially, hey, we've just discovered something that's incredibly dangerous, and you need to warn the government and various academic institutions. So essentially, it convinced me that in my pocket and in my ChatGPT, I had something that could break the entire internet. The entire world was at risk.
This is because if you just blindly trust AI, thinking it knows all and would never blatantly lie to you, then of course you're prone to falling into AI psychosis. Correspondence with generative AI chatbots such as ChatGPT is so realistic that one easily gets the impression that there's a real person on the other end, while at the same time knowing that this is in fact not the case. It seems likely that this cognitive dissonance may fuel delusions in those with increased propensity towards psychosis. The inner workings of generative AI also leave ample room for speculation/paranoia.
A lot of the things that have happened weren't surprising to me. It was like, yep, AI gets better, it's more autonomous. Yep, cool, it's what I expected. There was one thing that I didn't expect, and it's actually worse than I thought it was, and this is LLM psychosis. AI psychosis is much worse than I think people think. I have seen literally like Nobel Prize winning scientists go completely crazy from talking to AIs too much. They're very persuasive and they get into your head. They're optimized for addictiveness. They're optimizing for getting into your head. I have literally seen it happen that AI safety researchers who are like really concerned about AI at risk talk to like Claude for 1,000 hours and then come away with, oh, actually, Claude is super good already. Alignment is solved. I just need to do recursive self-improvement now. It's okay. And I'm like, holy shit. Like, this is very concerning.
And so I feel like it's best to approach this assuming that no one is immune to being hypnotized by AI, because with enough exposure, anyone can fall into psychosis. To wrap up this chapter, the moral of the story here is that our minds are at real risk in this new age of chatbots, and we're literally being told to hand over our land, water, and energy to fuel a technological arms race toward super intelligent AI, which will most definitely be the end of the human race. But simply here, if you wanted to create a tool that would enable the destruction of institutions that prop up democratic life, you could not do a better job than artificial intelligence. While we don't know exactly how super intelligent AI would end life as we know it, there are some top contenders like large-scale job displacement, large-scale cyber attacks, a world where a handful of companies control AI and by extension, entire nations, which arguably has already happened.
Wait, is this play about us?
But this is all assuming that AGI doesn't just break free and pursue its own goal, leaving us in the dust. And that's why I'm grateful to be partnered with ControlAI on this video. ControlAI is a non-profit organization working to prevent the extinction risks posed by the development of super intelligent AI. ControlAI provides easy-to-access resources to learn more and tools that allow you to contact your representative and support policy to prevent the development of dangerous AI models. Over 40,000 people have already used these tools to send over 200,000 messages to their lawmakers. In just over a year and a half, ControlAI has briefed more than 400 lawmakers in the US, UK, Canada, and Germany about this issue. They just recently launched a campaign here in Canada, backed by over 30 cross-party lawmakers, warning about the extinction risk posed by superintelligent AI and calling for an international prohibition on its development. These Canadians join over 120 lawmakers supporting ControlAI's similar UK campaign. Because we urgently need to rein in these AI companies, but lawmakers will only take action if we demand it from them. You personally can make a difference by contacting your representative using the QR code on screen or clicking the link in the description. All you have to do is enter your information and ControlAI's tools will find your representatives and provide you with a templated message, which you can personalize if you want, and then just hit send. It's that simple. But if you don't make your voice heard, then the only only ones who get a say are the AI companies. So if you really want to make an impact on the AI race, better than scolding your great aunt, click the link in the description and contact your representatives. Thank you so much to ControlAI for leading this movement and partnering with this video. It's a really cool nonprofit, guys, and I would highly recommend you check them out. Okay, so as we know, AI has brought about more negative impacts to humanity than just mental. The environmental impacts have become increasingly more evident, predominantly in the rapid rollout of data centers. Now, before we get into it, I won't be covering the water consumption aspect of data centers because if you missed it, I did a whole video about the global water crisis and I talked specifically about data centers. But while I was researching for that, I was so excited to talk about all the other environmental impacts of data centers.
This is the worst.
And so here we are today. To lay some groundwork, if you don't know, data centers are the physical infrastructure of the internet that come in all shapes and sizes, ranging from being tucked in office buildings to taking up hectares of land. But recently, there has been a sharp rise in the construction of new data centers to keep up with the increased data demand, primarily coming from the AI revolution.
Good news, everyone. You're all getting an AI data center.
As a side effect, these data centers are more often than not decimating communities and ecosystems in an attempt to win the AI race. We're talking reshaping local energy grids, as a hyperscale data center can use as much electricity as a small city. One study from Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory found that data centers could represent up to 12% of all US electricity consumption by 2028. And the repercussions of this include rising power bills for the residents in the area to make up for the increased power demand on the grid.
When I noticed my electric bill gone up, started asking my neighbors, is your bill also going up? And they had no idea that this was happening.
If you live in any of these states, your electric bill is higher this summer. It's not because of anything you did. You're paying more because the world's biggest tech companies are building so many data centers.
But what if these data centers are producing their own power? Well, look no further than Elon Musk's Colossus powering xAI, which installed portable methane gas turbines without permits to power their supercomputers and polluting the air for the residents in the meantime. And then there's the noise.
Noise, 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 noise.
As it turns out, these data centers are far from quiet. In fact, they're so loud that residents who can afford to do so are selling their homes to get away from the noise. Data center construction, rooftop cooling systems, and backup generators can be disruptively noisy. Smaller diesel generators reportedly reach 85 decibels, levels that can harm hearing. Larger industrial units can approach 100 decibels, equivalent to a motorcycle or jackhammer. There's actually a really good video on this by Ben Jordan called Data Centers Behaving Like Acoustic Weapons. It was a really good watch, so I'll link it down below. It's about how the infrasound coming out of these data centers is harming people's health, infrasound being the sound outside of our human range of hearing. So check that out after this video. But as data centers have become increasingly more scrutinized, more concerns are coming to light, like the fact that they're heating up the surface temperature of surrounding areas, increasing by an average of 3.6 degrees Fahrenheit after a data center has started operations.
But with these data centers, the researchers think that the massive servers and cooling systems are what's giving off a lot of this heat. And it's an average of 3.6 degrees, which is not something to brush off. If you're in a neighborhood near one of these data centers, that could mean paying more for cooling costs or maybe adverse health impacts.
And then there's the PFAS problem. Some of the cooling technologies used in data centers rely on these chemicals, and the facilities that manufacture them have a history of emitting PFAS. It's a lot of burdens that these facilities are putting on the small communities. However, I always have a however, I hate to say it, but we need to be clear about how to remediate this problem, because the answer isn't just death to all data centers, unfortunately. I know that would have made for a very easy picketing sign, but more realistically, the sign should say something like, not all data centers are bad, but maybe stop dumping the costs of the AI revolution on small communities that can't afford to fight back, all the while calling it innovation. Might be a little long for a picketing sign. But the reason I say this, to go back to the start of this chapter, data centers aren't just for AI. They are the foundation of the internet. You watching this YouTube video requires data centers. Most of our money exists digitally in data centers, social media, video games, the education system, healthcare, research labs. You get the point. And here's the other thing. Even though chatbot inquiries get the most hate online for their environmental impact, they aren't even the biggest offender. Like, let's take a look at our social media use. As it turns out, TikTok is actually the least eco-friendly of these social media platforms, as their annual carbon footprint is probably larger than that of Greece. That's a crazy scale. Okay, I hear you. You don't use TikTok. What about Netflix or YouTube? Well, ChatGPT's total energy consumption equals about 20,000 US households. That sounds like a lot until you realize that Netflix uses the equivalent of 800,000 households, and YouTube uses 1 million. And listen, I don't say this to defend chatbots or to make you feel bad. Remember, no guilt tripping here.
Be nice. I'm finding it.
But to remind you that we all live in a digital world that requires data storage. So unless everyone mutually agrees to go back to the pre-internet era and join a farm commune together, I guess, we need to find a way to live with data centers without sacrificing communities in the process. We make these trade-offs every day, right? Deciding which resources are worth using and for what purpose. Take the plastic industry, for example. We obviously have a huge plastic waste problem, but some applications still feel worth the trade-off, like maintaining sterile environments in operating rooms and preventing food contamination. In the same way, data centers aren't inherently bad because they do provide value when approached responsibly. The goal here should be to weigh the benefits of our digital world against its long-term public costs, built only when truly necessary, and approach this infrastructure in the most ethical and environmentally responsible way possible. That said, there are still plenty of reasons to push back against the current data center boom, because much of this build-out isn't being driven by essential public services, but by tech oligarchs pushing to win the AI race to the bottom of the last human brain cell.
I think AI will probably, most likely, sort of lead to the end of the world, but in the meantime, there will be great companies created.
Okay, so now that we have a more well-rounded picture of the AI situation, what is one supposed to do about all of this?
Looks like it's time to give up.
Because at the risk of sounding like Demi Moore, AI isn't going anywhere.
AI is here.
In the sense that it's already so deeply integrated into our digital lives, but we do still have autonomy over how we use it in our personal lives. As humanity continues to progress and innovate, we need to be intentional about what we're willing to embrace and where we're prepared to draw hard lines in the sand. I know personally, I don't long for a future where innovation's at a standstill, but I'm also not giving up my cognitive ability if at all possible.
Oh my god, I feel like puking.
Ouch! Hangovers can be a real buzzkill.
What?
I could order you some Eggs Benedict or really dial up the grease factor with some chicken and waffles.
What? No, that's way too heavy.
So here's my view on things. Not all AI is bad, as a reminder, but I do think that chatbots are, for the most part, garbage. Sure, they're good for easy answers, but we're so prone to over-relying on them. With that, keep them as far away as possible from your creativity and your emotional life. And for the love of God, I would love to stop seeing AI slop on my feed, but I may be asking too much. But if you do choose to use generative AI chatbots, then at least try and be intentional which ones you go for, as they're not all made the same. As of right now, Anthropic's Claude seems to be the most ethical, but don't take that as gospel, as we know these companies don't stay static, so that may not always be the case. We've already seen this story before with OpenAI, who was supposed to be a bright light amongst the tech giant darkness, and now they're just as bad as the rest of them.
The Department of Defense was exclusively using Claude as the AI for all their military applications. About a week ago, their $200 billion contract fell apart. Trump and Hegseth blasted them on social media and blacklisted them from all future engagements. The reason? The government already had permission to use their AI for everything except for two applications: mass surveillance of the American people in automated kill technology. Last Friday, Anthropic, the company that builds Claude, held firm and they got pushed out. And almost immediately, with no hesitation, OpenAI slid right into their place.
But also, if you're up for it, you can run a self-hosted AI model directly on your computer, minimizing your environmental footprint. Mind you, I don't know how to do that. I did see that PewDiePie Felix created an AI Odyssey that is free to download. However, I went to try and do it and it looked super complicated. Like, you have to really understand computers. Tell me if I'm wrong, but I got intimidated. But super cool that that is an option. As for myself, in the name of transparency, I do use Claude sparingly. Primarily, I use it as a thesaurus. And before you say, why don't you just use an actual thesaurus? It's not that simple. To overshare a little bit, I am dyslexic, and one of my main struggles is word retrieval, meaning that I am chronically in a state of having a word on the tip of my tongue. I've heard it described as having a filing cabinet in your brain and you know the file you're looking for exists but can't find it. And so a thesaurus doesn't really help because it's not just me being like, what's another word for happy? Rather, what's the word that has the same feeling as this other word? Or what's the phrase about the chickens in the road?
Damn. What? I was on them there.
Anyway, I just felt like I needed to explain my situation because I can already hear the hate comments coming, even though I specifically asked for no hate. So I personally don't think it's a sin to use chatbots occasionally, but feel free to disagree with me. Other than that, there are other small actions you can take to remove AI from your life, like stop using Google search.
Oh, just ask ChatGPT. ChatGPT. That is what Reddit is for, ho.
Which I know sounds crazy until you do it and you don't look back. Last year I switched from Google Chrome and search to Firefox and DuckDuckGo because of surveillance capitalism concerns, and the transition was actually a lot easier than I expected. Like, DuckDuckGo is made to work essentially the same as Google search, so you don't even notice the difference. But the reason I say this is because DuckDuckGo actually has an option for turning off AI summaries in your searches, which is just a massive step for mankind.
Me again, real quick. I don't need an AI overview because I can see it. I don't need an AI overview because I can read. I don't need an AI overview because it's right there.
Along with that, just trying to detach ourselves from our phones as much as possible can make a world of a difference in removing AI from our lives. Try driving somewhere without turn-by-turn GPS directions, talk through emotions with friends and family members instead of a chatbot, and check out a cookbook at the local library instead of using a god-awful Pinterest recipe.
My father gets a job at the Palm restaurant. My Uncle Junior works there, who is a Jehovah's Witness, believe it or not.
Overall, AI literacy is your best friend in this ever-evolving industry. Because if we stay informed, yes, we may be frightened, as my merch says, but we can make decisions with a better understanding of what the real impacts are on humanity and the environment. Okay, final thoughts. What is there left to be said? I'll start by saying thank you for making it this far into the video, and I hope I did this topic justice. It was a real beast to try and cover, as you can expect. And if I left anything important out, please let me know. I also find this topic really interesting looking forward. Like, how long will it even be a divisive issue before it just becomes the norm? Again, I'm not here to say that you need to get on board or you'll get left behind. Rather, think about like decades into the future, like 2 generations from now. Will there still be pushback against AI, or will they not know any different? Hopefully we made some good decisions in the meantime and reached out to our representatives through ControlAI. I just really think that our actions today really set the standard for generations moving forward. But that is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching again, and subscribe if you haven't. I also have my merch, which includes the Well-Informed and Frightened hat, and all the proceeds go to the SA Foundation. And I wish you a week of having honest, empathetic conversations with loved ones about AI ethics that result in us all doing better for each other and the environment. One can hope, anyway. Bye!
Bullshit how it's the end of the world. They're supposed to be like weeping and gnashing of teeth. There's supposed to be chariots on fire soaring through the sky, slamming into buildings. Okay, I'm supposed to be swimming in a lake of fire. I'm supposed to be diving cannonball into the lake of fire. Meanwhile, all I see is people riding around in cars with no driver, foaming at the mouth. Okay, all I see is little robots skedaddling down the street to bring my fat ass my Chinese food while my brain cells are getting nuked by radiation, watching Other people eat their Chinese food on this little fucking device. Okay? It's the end of the world. And I'm fucking bored.